as IPs for many of these organizations. Hopefully some of them will also be contributed back to the community, so that the community at large can really use some of these techniques. Moving to the next part, which is on the people side. And when you look at people side of challenge, as I said, there are two aspects. One, people who knows how to deal with big data, how to make sense of big data, and then second is having set of managers who can relate with some of these insights or some of the numbers which are being created by the analysts, and then be able to really use it in their business solutions. Now, and McKinsey 2 years back, or I would say maybe 3 years back, did a study where they talked about there's a need of additionally 1.5 million number of people who can be either generating insights or generating analytics within big data, or will be consuming as business managers. And so it's very important that we kind of look at both the groups and see how the world is really dealing with those challenges. Yeah. So as the next page kind of comes up, now this is like a very debatable question, and I think everybody has their own way of defining data scientists. But I'm just putting my own effort in terms of trying to say what my data scientist really means. Now, in my experience over the last 15-16 years, what I've seen is there are 4 different I would say islands of skills which are important to make any business analytics, be it small data, big data, really work out. One, where somebody needs to really figure out what should be the right technology to store the data, to process the data, to make it accessible to a larger number of people. Then there are people who wants to know everything about the data, and they're like, they know the source, they know in what form the data comes in, they can make any data available whenever you need it. And then there are third set of people who loves to apply predictive techniques like statistics, machine learning, and for them, the idea is really how do I use some of this data, some of these techniques to solve certain kind of statistical or machine learning problem. And the fourth is really people who can relate with a business problem and see numbers and connect the dots between different numbers. Now, again, I mean, if I look at these 4 different islands, in my experience, I have seen people who have done extremely well being in their own islands and being really deep into it. And I have also seen people who have really diversified their their ability, and probably some people who got a good amount of functional domain knowledge, but at the same time pretty good understanding of some of the predictive techniques. So I think even in big data, these 4 islands will exist, because and probably something like technology and become much more important than what it used to be before. On the other side, what we'll see is that 15 years back, I used to, a month or so, people used to wait for us to really understand the data completely before I start doing any kind of analytics. Now we are talking about a variety of data today. New data will come every day, and we might not really have time for understanding the data for a long period of time, and expect that only an island will create the data and make it available to to analysts who will then start analyzing the data. Now, increasingly, what will happen is that we need people who might be very good at machine learning, statistics, but they need to really go beyond that. They need to get some view of technology. They need to get some view of where the data is coming from and the veracity of the data. What kind of complexity or problems the data comes with, and also can probably link with some of the business problems they're kind of dealing with. And I probably define them as the data scientists of tomorrow. But then if somebody asks me that is data scientist the only job which will be there tomorrow, absolutely not. I think this is where we are putting a lot of expectation from a group of people who might have a little bit of kind of combined set of skills, but I still feel that there will be a stronger need of data stewards, because we're dealing with large amount of data, and and very different data, and it comes with a lot of garbage. So we need people of that kind. Technology is absolutely critical in big data. It is not going to be a separate island. Somebody has to work together to make it work. And then similarly, I think all of these different, there will be people who will be getting deeper in each of these 4 different areas. On the other side, when I talk about the other part of 1.5 million set of people, which is where we're talking about business savvy, analytics savvy business managers, I would probably like to kind of relate with the change we have seen in, in personal computing, handheld, that whole area where we have seen a complex laptop or even a desktop of the yesterday world moved into handheld, then moved into probably small devices, and it's basically kind of simplifying and make something much more available at any point of time. Now, in the same case, probably in big data also, to make more and more number of people really be part of consumption of some of these and feel really excited about it, we need to think beyond the complexities. I think complexity, I strongly believe that complexity is about solving questions, be it web, be it desktop oriented, which probably acts as a final front end for the business managers to simulate situations, to see some visualizations and take decisions, to look at how probably in a workflow how decisions can be really taken. Now that's where small applications with embedded analytics inside will be really critical. And I think Bridge I2I, from that standpoint, that's my company. We really work on some of those kind of aspects. Now that's a strong belief we have, that we need to have people who can solve the problem, but then we need to have technology for tomorrow's world which can make consumption of some of these analysis much more easier and much more simpler. Having said that, I would like to probably, I'm coming to the, final part. Maybe, we have around 10 minutes and want to keep some time for question and answers. And I'll be just summarizing in the whole discussion as I talked about. Big data is certainly, it creates a huge opportunity. It is really big opportunity, no doubt about that. It is real. A lot of people talk about whether it's a hype or not. It will be seen as a hype as long as we have more and more number of situations where traditional businesses have used analytics or have used big data, and made some impacts to their business. While I think it's very important. But I think all of us need to focus on the right area, and I think there's a lot of effort which has happened in this area, but may not be on the most important area of focus for the business. As I said, just for the sake of joining the bandwagon, maybe a lot of the businesses have focused on social media, even though social media might not be the most important factor in their business. So they need to really focus on the right business case where they invest in. Innovation is important. As I said, the world is changing. As any of our practitioners, technology people, we need to keep keep a very open eye on newer technologies, tools which are coming on board. We need to simplify the outcome of it to make it much more usable and much more adopted by a larger group of people. And then finally, it has to be something which has to be interdisciplinary. A larger group of people should come on board. It cannot be a IT-driven initiative. It has to be a business-driven initiative, which really works out together as a group. Now, I don't want to take more time, but that kind of summarizes my thought, and I'll see whether there are questions which I can answer.
Thank you, Preetham, for the wonderful insight for this webinar. Can we start with the questions? You will find them in the questions doc. There are a lot many questions already pouring in,
yes.
So if you can start.
Right. So I see a lot of questions on, even if I'm not a techie, how can I really grow in the business data world?